CM Punk went off script at Survivor Series. Huge mistakes the WWE made at Survivor Series WarGames. Big E finally breaks silence on Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods insulting each other. LA Knight is legitimately pissed off after Survivor Series WarGames. Is Jimmy Uso really injured? Unfortunate update on Bronson Reed. An important update on Jacob Fatu's injury. Paul Heyman acknowledges CM Punk's verbal shot at Roman Reigns. Let's dive right in. Huge mistakes the WWE made at Survivor Series WarGames. WWE Survivor Series WarGames took over Vancouver, British Columbia last night, and it seems that there were some interesting decisions made throughout the show. The night ended with the OG bloodline standing tall. Shinsuke Nakamura was crowned United States Champion, while both face teams came out on top inside the WarGames structure. Gunther and Braun Breaker successfully defended their championships respectively, but it seems that there were some mistakes that WWE made throughout the night, and the following list looks at just 4. Number 1. Shinsuke Nakamura versus LA Knight has had very little build. LA Knight has been a fighting champion since capturing the United States Championship from Logan Paul at SummerSlam, but he was unable to overcome Shinsuke Nakamura and his Kinshasa at Survivor Series. This match was the only one on the card that only had a few weeks of build after Nakamura attacked Knight on the November 15th episode of SmackDown, announcing his return with a bang. He then hit him with the mist this week before taking the title last night. It was a huge surprise for the title to change hands on such little build, which means WWE must have huge plans for Nakamura following his return after being repackaged. Number 2. Gunther was unable to defeat Damian Priest clean again. Damian Priest seemingly had Gunther's number throughout their feud and has humanized the ring general over the past few weeks, with many fans convinced that Gunther couldn't defeat him one-on-one. While Gunther did retain his title last night at Survivor Series, it was only because of an interference from Finn Balor. Balor once again proved that his story with Damian Priest is far from over, and Gunther proved he's unable to beat Priest without help. Number 3. Tonga Loa should have been the third WarGames entrant. WWE missed the chance to have the Usos versus the Tonga brothers inside WarGames after Bronson Reed was the second entrant instead of Tonga Loa. Jimmy Uso followed his brother as the second entrant for the OG bloodline, which would have allowed the two tag teams to steal the show. Instead, Bronson Reed came in at the wrong time and was able to dominate Jey Uso in a 2-on-1 situation when he would have been better used as the final entrant to come in and clean house as a fresh member much later. Number 4. Why didn't Tiffany Stratton cash in her Money in the Bank contract? Tiffany Stratton teased a Money in the Bank cash-in before the event and proved that she had her contract with her, so it's unclear why she didn't use it at the end of the WarGames match. Liv Morgan was pinned after being hit with a riptide from the top rope through a table, and Raquel Rodriguez was handcuffed to the ropes. It was the best chance she would have gotten to cash in and take her first women's championship on the main roster, but WWE failed to capitalize on the opportunity. Big E finally breaks silence on Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods insulting each other. Big E has finally opened up about what happened between Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods on last week's edition of WWE Raw. The New Day members had a heated argument backstage, and the 38-year-old star does not seem too happy. On Raw, the Alpha Academy picked up a win over Kingston and Woods. Post-match, Kofi and Xavier had a massive argument and took several shots at each other. It seems like the New Day is on the verge of splitting up, and Big E is heartbroken over the same. At the Survivor Series WarGames 2024 Premium Live event, Wade Barrett asked Big E about what happened on Raw last week. The former WWE champion did not want to speak about the incident, judging by his demeanor. However, he did say the following: "What is it that you want me to say? I know. When asked about the New Day's 10th anniversary coming up. The New Day was formed a decade ago and changed the careers of Big E, Kofi Kingston, and Xavier Woods for the better. The three mid-carders suddenly turned into the most amusing acts on WWE TV, and their star power kept rising with each passing year. The New Day is bound to get inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in the distant future." LA Knight is legitimately pissed off after Survivor Series WarGames. A major WWE superstar lost his championship last night at Survivor Series WarGames. Wrestling veteran Jonathan Coachman claimed the star is surely pissed at the creative decision taken by Triple H and his team. LA Knight captured the United States Championship at SummerSlam after defeating Logan Paul. The 42-year-old held the title for 118 days before losing it to Shinsuke Nakamura last night at Survivor Series WarGames. On the Behind the Turnbuckle, The Last Word podcast, Coachman and his co-host, former WWE employee Tommy Carlucci questioned the company's decision to take the title off the megastar. The former interim Raw general manager claimed Knight was legitimately unhappy with losing the championship to Nakamura last night. He suggested the megastar might not be a big part of the company's plans as Raw moves to Netflix and SmackDown to USA Network. Yeah, I'm shocked too. And LA Knight is not a young puppy anymore. And I think once you get to the late 30s and early 40s, things start to change. And we know his story. And I guarantee he is pissed off tonight. He's like, man, as we head into the biggest year in the history of the company, he's losing his title 4 weeks before that happens. So he's gonna be a forgotten guy. That's just the way that it works. When Netflix starts and SmackDown starts on USA, LA Knight will not be a big part of the plans, and that sucks because I think he should be a big part. I love that guy, he said. After several months of absence, Shinsuke Nakamura returned to SmackDown a few weeks ago to target LA Knight. After accomplishing his mission of winning his third United States Championship last night at Survivor Series WarGames, the Japanese star took to Instagram to comment. The 44-year-old WWE star seemingly gave himself a new nickname as he posted a photo of himself with the championship, the ruler of infernal chaos, Nakamura wrote. It would be interesting to see if LA Knight will go after Nakamura to try to regain the United States Championship next. Is Jimmy Uso really injured? Jimmy Uso delivered the performance of the night at WWE Survivor Series WarGames 2024 when the OG Bloodline defeated Solo Sikoa's faction. The Samoan twin pulled off the unthinkable by climbing the WarGames structure and crashing Jacob Fatu through a table. Additionally, Jimmy impressed fans with several other moves, leaving many astonished by his performance. However, his daring leap from the top of the structure has sparked speculation about a potential injury sustained during the high-risk maneuver. During the post-match press conference, the OG Bloodline appeared alongside CM Punk. Jey Uso confirmed that Jimmy Uso broke his toe while performing the splash off the cage in the WarGames match. Given the risky nature of the move, it appears that Jimmy's injury is legitimate and not part of a storyline. Currently, there is no official update on how long the former undisputed tag team champion will be absent from television. The recovery time will depend on the severity of the injury. However, if the injury isn't too serious, WWE might choose not to write Jimmy off television entirely. Instead, they could limit his physical involvement and matches until he recovers. Fans will have to wait for more updates on Jimmy Uso's injury and the recovery time for his broken toe following the high-risk splash at WarGames. We wish Jimmy Uso a speedy recovery and hope to see him back in the squared circle soon. If Jimmy Uso gets written off television due to his recent injury, fans could see some major alterations to the storyline. It's possible that WWE's plans involving Jimmy may now need to be adjusted or delayed because of this setback. Additionally, Jey Uso might return to singles competition following Jimmy's injury. Previously, speculation was that the Usos had reunited as a tag team within the OG Bloodline. However, with Jimmy sidelined, this opens the door for the Yeet Master to embark on another singles run, particularly on Monday Night Raw. Jey Uso seemingly has some unfinished business with Braun Breaker, who defeated him to become the Intercontinental Champion. A rematch between the two appears likely. Meanwhile, the storyline between Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa is expected to continue despite the ending of the WarGames match. Fans will have to wait to see how the Bloodline saga develops in the upcoming episodes of Raw and SmackDown following this recent premium live event. Unfortunate update on Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed had a rough outing during the men's WarGames match at the 2024 WWE Survivor Series Premium Live event. An unfortunate update on his condition has come to light following a horrific spot that left fans worried. The OG Bloodline, featuring Roman Reigns, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, and CM Punk, beat Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Bronson Reed of the new Bloodline in a barn burner contest. Members of both teams pulled out all the stops and risked their bodies to keep the WWE Universe on the edge of their seats. Unfortunately, the Auxilla inadvertently injured himself while performing a tsunami on the original tribal chief from the top of the cage. CM Punk took Roman Reigns off the table, causing Bronson Reed to crash through it. During the post-show press conference, Triple H confirmed that the 36-year-old WWE star hurt himself, though the nature of his injury was unknown. According to Fightful Select, Reed injured one or possibly both ankles during the awkward landing. He also needed help to get to the back. The game said Bronson Reed's health will be a topic of discussion for the next few weeks. It will be interesting to see whether he will continue his rivalry with Seth Rollins after Survivor Series WarGames. An important update on Jacob Fatu's injury. Jacob Fatu was an important part of the new Bloodline at the Survivor Series WarGames 2024 Premium Live event. He was one of the most dominant superstars, but two major things worked against him. Firstly, the Samoan Werewolves team lost, and secondly, he may have suffered an injury in the men's WarGames match. There has been a quick and new update regarding the same. There appear to be multiple injuries coming out of the men's WarGames match, with the status of Bronson Reed also being questioned following his devastating splash that was supposed to hit Roman Reigns, only for CM Punk to make the save. As a result, Reed looked like he was banged up from the table spot. Although Jacob Fatu appeared to be limping after the match, Corey Brennan of Fightful reported that he was not originally supposed to sell his leg injury that much, and that he was fine, thankfully. For many people, Jacob is the backbone of the new bloodline, even more so than Solo Sikoa. This is despite his unmatched loyalty to the self-proclaimed tribal chief. However, the wheels will be turning storyline-wise going forward. What lies ahead for Fatu is yet to be seen. He only had his first singles televised match on SmackDown before Survivor Series WarGames 2024. The only time the Samoan Werewolf has been pinned in WWE was in a dark match post-Raw against Cody Rhodes. Paul Heyman acknowledges CM Punk's verbal shot at Roman Reigns. Paul Heyman has acknowledged CM Punk's answer regarding Roman Reigns during the Survivor Series WarGames 2024 post-show press conference. The Best in the World refused to talk about the original Tribal Chief's rise in WWE. Punk, the Usos, and Sami Zayn were all present during the Survivor Series WarGames 2024 post-show press conference. The Second City Saint was asked a question, and it was about the rise of Roman in WWE. He remained silent for a few seconds and then simply said, "No comment." Now Heyman has put up a story on his official Instagram handle, acknowledging Punk's response at the post-show press conference. The Wiseman, at this moment, seems loyal to both CM Punk and Roman Reigns. He came out during the men's WarGames match, right when the two stars were seemingly about to have a massive argument. The 59-year-old legend begged Punk and Roman to put their differences aside so that they could focus on Solo Sikoa and the rest of the bloodline. Reigns and Punk both listened to Heyman and resumed competing against the bloodline. In the end, the OG bloodline and the Best in the World won the match and stood tall on the entrance ramp as the show went off the air. CM Punk went off script at Survivor Series. CM Punk was involved in a heated moment at WWE Survivor Series WarGames as the star provoked Bronson Reed even before the start of the men's 5-on-5 match. A report has shed further light on the incident, noting that it was not planned and something Punk did on his own. Punk competed in this year's edition of the men's WarGames match as he joined forces with the OG Bloodline to take on the new Bloodline. The Best in the World was brought into the fold by Paul Heyman, who now owes a favor to his former client. Punk played a major part in Roman Reigns' group's victory, as he saved the OTC from a vicious tsunami from Bronson Reed from the top of the steel structure. The Chicago native was also involved in a heated moment with Bronson Reed before the match as he shoved the powerhouse while he was inside the pre-match cage. This led to the new bloodline losing control, and even forced WWE to cut to a black screen momentarily. Ibu of Wrestle Purists has provided further details on the incident, noting that Punk's actions were not a part of the script, and it was something he did on the fly. WarGames is one of the most brutal matches in WWE history, with competitors putting it all on the line to get one over their opponents. The OG Bloodline and the new Bloodline collided in a 5-on-5 match in this year's men's WarGames match, with Roman Reigns and the company coming out on top. However, that was not without any setbacks, as Jimmy Uso hurt his toe during the match. From the new Bloodline side, it was reported that Bronson Reed suffered an injury in one or both of his ankles. A report from Fightful also provided an update on CM Punk after the grueling match. The news source noted that the Best in the World and the others were doing okay. With the OG Bloodline's victory at WWE Survivor Series WarGames, Paul Heyman now owes a favor to CM Punk. The Second City Saint is yet to reveal what he wants from the Wiseman.